New York City, the land of lights, dreams, and ambition. For more than a century, it has been called the capital of the world, where fortunes are made and power is built. Its skyline, a shimmering crown of steel and glass, tells a story of limitless success. But behind the glamour, there lies another story, one of secrecy, manipulation, and control. A story about the few who hold the keys to the city, and the millions who live under their shadow. This is the hidden truth about New York's billionaires. The modern image of New York was built on wealth. From the earliest tycoons of the Gilded Age, men like John D. Rockefeller, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and J.P. Morgan, to today's tech magnates, hedge fund titans, and real estate giants, the city has always been the epicenter of power. But wealth in New York was never just about money. It was about influence, the ability to shape policy, art, culture, and even the perception of success itself. For decades, the ultra-rich have quietly transformed the city's identity. They built skyscrapers, museums, and foundations that carried their names, immortalizing their legacies in stone and glass. Yet, at the same time, they reshaped the city's economy in ways that made it nearly impossible for ordinary people to live there. The same billionaires who funded parks and galleries also drove up housing prices, bought entire blocks of property, and turned neighborhoods into investment portfolios. In Manhattan, luxury real estate has become one of the world's most powerful symbols of wealth and secrecy. Billionaires from across the globe park their money in glass towers overlooking Central Park, not as homes, but as financial assets. Many of these apartments remain empty year-round, while millions of New Yorkers struggle to afford rent in the outer boroughs. The skyline may sparkle, but many of its windows are dark. Over the years, New York's wealth gap has grown wider than ever before. The city now hosts more billionaires than any other place on Earth. Yet it also has one of the highest homelessness rates in America. The contrast is jarring. While penthouses sell for over $200 million, thousands sleep in subway stations and shelters every night. The same city that promises opportunity has become a mirror of inequality. The story of New York's billionaires is not just about luxury. It's about control.
It is not black people's job to educate
lobbying,
you.
and media ownership. The ultra-rich have quietly shaped how the city is governed and how it is portrayed. Real estate developers influence zoning laws. Financial executives advise politicians. Billionaire media owners decide what stories the public hears and what stories remain untold. The city's image of diversity and opportunity hides the reality that a small group of people control much of its destiny. At the heart of this control is land, the most valuable commodity in New York. From Hudson Yards to Billionaires Row, property has become a currency of power. Developers often receive tax breaks and incentives worth billions, justified as economic development, while working-class communities are priced out of their own neighborhoods. Entire districts, once home to artists, immigrants, and families, are transformed into playgrounds for the rich. Gentrification, once a gradual process, has become an unstoppable wave driven by capital rather than culture. The city's real estate boom has also created a hidden financial network. Many luxury buildings are owned not by individuals, but by shell companies, designed to hide the true identities of their owners. These entities often link back to offshore accounts, global elites, and corporations using New York property as a safe haven for money. Behind the polished facades of Midtown's towers lies a shadow economy, one where real estate doubles as both investment and secrecy. But the influence of New York's billionaires extends far beyond property. Their reach touches politics, philanthropy, education, and art. Donations to universities, hospitals, and museums create an image of generosity, yet they often come with strings attached. Buildings, scholarships, and programs are named after donors, ensuring that their power is remembered not only through wealth, but through gratitude. Even acts of charity become instruments of control, shaping narratives, preserving reputations, and softening public criticism. Philanthropy in New York often serves as a mask. Behind every donation lies influence, access to decision-makers, exemption from scrutiny, and a shield against accountability. While the city applauds billionaires for their generosity, few question the systems that allow such vast inequality to exist in the first place. The very individuals who give away millions are often the same ones who exploit tax loopholes, push anti-labor policies, and suppress wages. Wall Street remains the beating heart of this ecosystem. The global financial center generates unimaginable wealth, yet it operates like an empire above the law. High-frequency trading, corporate mergers, and speculative markets create fortunes overnight. But when systems fail, it's ordinary people who pay the price. The financial crisis of 2008, born in the skyscrapers of Lower Manhattan, devastated millions of lives across America. Yet, within years, the same institutions that caused the collapse were bailed out, rewarded, and rebuilt richer than ever. This pattern, profit without consequence, defines the hidden truth of New York's billionaires. The city thrives on their image, but suffers from their dominance. Political campaigns depend on their funding, media celebrates their success, and citizens are taught to admire them rather than question the system that allows a handful of people to hold more wealth than millions combined.
It is not
Even culture
black
does not
people's
escape
job
their
to
influence.
educate you.
From Broadway to film, from fashion to fine art, billionaire investment determines what thrives and what fades. The art scene, once rebellious and diverse, is now curated by the same elite that owns the galleries. The city that once gave birth to street art, jazz, and hip-hop has watched its culture sanitized for luxury and status. Creativity has become another commodity, something to be owned, branded, and traded. Yet, beneath all the glitter, cracks are forming. Public outrage is growing over housing inequality, overtaxed workers, and the corruption of politics by money. Grassroots movements are fighting to reclaim the city through rent control, worker unions, and community coalitions. Activists are demanding that billionaires pay their fair share, that empty luxury buildings be taxed, and that policies prioritize citizens over corporations. But change in New York is slow because power never lets go easily. The same billionaires who profit from the system also fund the institutions that might challenge it. They donate to both political parties, ensuring that whichever side wins, their interests remain protected. It's a silent pact, one that keeps the appearance of democracy while maintaining the structure of oligarchy. The hidden truth is that New York is no longer a city for everyone. It is a fortress of wealth surrounded by a moat of inequality. The average worker cannot afford the life they help sustain. Teachers, nurses, and firefighters, the very people who keep the city alive, are being pushed out to the margins, commuting hours each day just to survive in a city that was once theirs. And yet, despite it all, New York endures. It remains a symbol of hope, ambition, and possibility. But that endurance comes not from the billionaires who own their towers. It comes from the millions who keep it running. From the taxi drivers and cleaners to the waiters, artists, and teachers who continue to dream in a city that no longer dreams for them. The truth about New York's billionaires is not simply that they are rich. It's that their power shapes everything around them: politics, art, housing, and even imagination. Their wealth builds monuments, but it also builds barriers. And unless the balance shifts, the city that once represented opportunity will continue to represent inequality. A shining skyline masking a growing shadow below. Because in the end, the story of New York's billionaires is not about success. It's about control. And the real question is not how they built their fortunes, but how they've managed to build a world where no one else can.